David Otto. He is the director of the Geneva Centre for Africa Security and Strategic Studies. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the program. Now, the U.S. Special Envoy, Jeffrey Feltman, said as many as 900,000 people in Tigray are facing famine-like conditions, while 90% of the population is in need of urgent aid. And the situation, looking at the history of how this conflict has unfolded within the past year, seems to just only get worse and worse. What has to happen to stop this crisis from affecting the people there even more? And will Feltman's arrival to the country help at all?
I think it's a very challenging conflict at this point in time. Of course, the Ethiopian government thought it was just a law enforcement exercise, and now it's a full-blown war, as you said. These numbers are an underestimate of the real figures of people that are impacted by the war. Now, I think the UN comes in very late. This is, a year on. We've talked about the need for proactive intervention. Ethiopia is the seat of the African Union, and for it to have degenerated to this point, whereby strong condemnations, which are very routine by the UN, coming in at this point in time, it doesn't help these high numbers of people that have been impacted, people that have been killed, the regional impact of this crisis in involving Eritrea, Sudan, and other countries in the Horn of Africa. It's a terrible miscalculation of intelligence, first of all, by the Ethiopian government, but secondly, by the African Union and the UN itself. But I hope that at this point in time, when the shoes are turned on the other side, there would be some kind of intervention that would lead to the cessation of violence,
Right.
not just about the humanitarian aspect.
Right. You said that the UN acted late. They came out with a report, as you know, yesterday. I want to get your thoughts on that report. Do you think it fully depicts the situation that the people there are going through, the various atrocities that they've mentioned in the report, or do you think that there's a lot of information missing?
Of course, there's a lot of information missing because access to whether you talk about the Tigray region or the Amhara or Oromia or Afar region, has been very much limited since the beginning of the crisis. So in order to get an accurate report, you've got to be able to have full access, which very few people do have that. So the situation and the report that has been given by the UN is just, a small representation of the actual figures. Of course, this is because we're blindsided by the lack of access, into some of these areas. But what I think is important is even if the report, showed a little less or is a representation, it still comes down to the same, thing about how does the United Nations intervene,
Right.
rather than just putting up strong statements. Strong statements do not stop wars. Intervention does.
All right. David Otto, thank you so much for joining us on the program. We really appreciate your insight.